My name is Sonia McWilliams. I'm 33 years old, and the moment I stopped being my family's wallet started with a cupcake. It was pastel pink, topped with a swirl of vanilla frosting and a tiny plastic rattle pressed into the center. Cute. Innocent. The kind of thing people photograph before eating. My younger sister Candace handed it to me with a smile wide enough for the entire baby shower to see. Then she tilted her head slightly and said, loud enough to carry across the room, "You're not really family," she said sweetly. "You're just the one who pays for everything." Her husband, Nick, laughed. Not the nervous, uncomfortable kind. The real one. The confident one. Like she'd just told the best joke of the afternoon. For a split second, my hand froze midair. The paper wrapper stuck to my fingers, frosting softening from the heat of my palm. I actually wondered if I'd misheard her, if maybe I'd read too much into a poorly timed joke. But Candace's eyes told the truth. Amused, satisfied, not apologetic. This was her baby shower, the one I paid $2,300 for. The venue deposit, the catering, the customized cake with tiny fondant baby sneakers, the balloon arch she insisted had to be Instagram perfect. I even printed the invitations myself when she said she didn't have the energy. Apparently, I wasn't family anymore, just a wallet with legs. My mom leaned in beside me, her voice barely a whisper behind her champagne flute. "Don't overreact. She's pregnant." Overreact. I looked across the room. Candace was already waddling toward the photo booth, one hand resting on her belly, the other holding a mimosa she definitely wasn't supposed to be drinking. Nick high-fived one of his friends and joked about how useful I was. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the cupcake. I didn't cry. Instead, I walked calmly to the gift table. Music played. Glasses clinked. Conversations buzzed. No one noticed as I reached into the stack of pastel-wrapped boxes and pulled out a single envelope. Mine. Inside was a $500 check and a handwritten card I'd spent an hour writing, trying to sound excited instead of exhausted. I turned back, held the envelope just high enough for Candace to see, and said, loud enough for the nearby tables, "Then let them pay. I'm out." Silence spread in a slow ripple. I didn't wait for a response. I walked straight out of the hall, past caterers unloading trays of food I'd already paid for. I didn't slam the door. I didn't say goodbye. I just left. What they didn't know was that I'd already made other moves, quieter ones, smarter ones. And when the knock came at their door the next morning, the one they never expected, everything they'd taken for granted began to unravel. But to understand why that cupcake mattered, you need to know how I became my family's personal ATM in the first place. It didn't start like this. It never does. Growing up, I was the responsible one, the fixer, the older sister who learned early that keeping the peace meant paying the price. When my parents argued, I smoothed it over. When Candace cried about ballet shoes or birthday themes, I stepped in. Our mom could guilt a stranger into apologizing for things they hadn't done. Dad just nodded along, avoiding conflict like it was contagious. By 18, I had my first job. By 20, I was paying part of the utility bills. Candace was still throwing tantrums when Starbucks spelled her name wrong. I built credit. She built Pinterest boards. Guess who paid for her wedding when the catering bill came up short? Guess who upgraded their honeymoon when she called crying from the airport because her sandals broke and she couldn't go to the Bahamas without the right shoes? I even co-signed their lease for that overpriced condo with the rooftop pool they never used, but posted on Instagram every week. And the thanks? Occasional, "You're the best, big sis." Once, a $25 Starbucks card, with $37 already used. Still, I kept giving, not because I was weak, but because I believed that's what family did. You help, you show up, you don't say no when your sister wants a baby crib that's just a little over budget. Except she wasn't crying when she asked for that crib. She was smirking, waving her phone in my face. If we don't get this one, it'll ruin the whole aesthetic. $1,299. for painted wood that looked exactly like the $300 version. She didn't say thank you. She said, "You're such a lifesaver." Like I was insurance, not a person. Then came the baby shower. She didn't plan a single thing. I did. Guest list, venue, wine, decorations, even tracking down Nick, the man who still called himself an entrepreneur on LinkedIn, to finalize RSVPs. One of Candace's friends asked me what I did for a living with that tone. When I said I ran a mid-sized logistics firm, she blinked. "Oh, so trucks." Later, Candace whispered, "Could you maybe not say trucks next time? It sounds very utility." That was me to her. Not fun, just useful. And I swallowed it. Until the cupcake. Until she said it in front of everyone. "You're not family. You're just the one who writes checks." Nick laughed. The same laugh I'd heard when I paid their rent, when I Venmo'd emergency money for a rabbit she never even named. But this time, I didn't laugh. I took back the envelope, because that was the moment I stopped funding people who mocked me. And the next morning, I made sure they understood exactly what that meant. They didn't hear the knock at first. It was early. Too early for visitors. That gray hour where night hasn't fully let go, but morning hasn't committed yet. The kind of time when bad news prefers to arrive. I was already awake, black coffee in my hand, keys in my pocket, sitting in my car across the street from their condo complex, watching the hallway lights flicker on one by one. I didn't feel nervous. I felt calm. That surprised me. The knock came again. Firmer this time. Nick opened the door shirtless, hair sticking up in every direction, eyes half closed. He squinted at the man standing there in a tailored blazer. Yeah?" Nick mumbled. "Delivery for Candace and Nicholas Reed," the man said evenly, holding out a sealed envelope. "Certified. I need a signature." Nick scratched his stomach, glanced at the clipboard, and signed without reading. He didn't notice the return address. Didn't notice the wording. By the time realization flickered across his face, I was already walking up the path. "Morning," I said casually. Candace appeared behind him, robe pulled tight around her body, mascara smudged from sleep. "What's going on?" Nick turned, holding up the envelope. "I don't know, some paperwork thing." I opened my folder. "Oh," I said lightly, "that would be mine." Candace's eyes snapped to me. "What?" I flipped the folder open. Inside were neatly organized documents, spreadsheets, receipts, bank transfers, contracts. 4 years of quiet support, itemized down to the cent. "Since I'm apparently not family," I said, "just the one who writes checks, I figured it was time to treat this like a business relationship." Her face drained of color. "You're joking," she said. "Nope." Nick stepped forward, suddenly awake. "Sonia, this is a lot. You're doing this over a cupcake?" I smiled. "No, Nick. I'm doing this over years." I handed Candace the first page. Her hands shook as she read. "Wedding catering shortfall. Honeymoon upgrade. Emergency rent assistance. Car payment. Baby shower venue. Crib. Maternity photo shoot. Even the damn balloon arch." "What is this?" she whispered. "A breakdown," I said. "Every dollar I gave or loaned you. Some you called gifts, some you promised to pay back. Funny thing is, you never specified which was which." Nick scoffed. "This is petty." "Petty," I repeated. "Petty was laughing when your wife humiliated me in front of 50 people. This is accountability." Candace's voice shot up. "I'm pregnant. You don't do this to family." "You're right," I said calmly. "You don't, when you're treated like family." Her mouth opened, then closed again. "I gave you 90 days, I continued. The total comes to $8,643.12, itemized, receipts included. If it's not repaid, I file in small claims court." Nick's jaw tightened. "You wouldn't." "I will," I said. "And you know what comes with that." Silence. "Good luck refinancing the SUV," I added. "Judgments have a way of showing up on credit reports." Candace's eyes filled, not with tears, but fury. "You're heartless," she snapped. "I can't believe you're doing this now." I tilted my head. You chose now when you told me I wasn't family. She lunged for the emotional kill shot. You're just bitter because you don't have a family of your own. That one landed right under the ribs. But I didn't flinch. Maybe, I said quietly, but I do have self-respect. And that's something you're going to need when your child grows up and starts watching how you treat people. She gasped like I'd crossed a sacred line. And one more thing, I added, closing the folder. I spoke to your landlord. Nick's face went pale. Why would you? Did you know co-signers can withdraw after 12 months, I asked. I filed the request this morning. You're pulling out of the lease, he said. Effective in 30 days. Candace let out a sound halfway between a sob and a scream. You're ruining us. No, I said. I'm cleaning up a mess I didn't make. I stepped back. And just so we're clear, I added softly, I'm not paying next month's rent. Not my responsibility anymore. Nick looked like he might throw up. I turned and walked away before either of them could say another word. By noon, my phone was on fire. Texts, calls, voicemails. Mom wrote paragraphs. She didn't mean it. She's hormonal. Don't destroy your family over a joke. A joke. That's when I blocked her. That night, something strange happened. The guilt didn't come. No late-night Venmo requests. No emergency calls. No last-minute favors disguised as love. Just silence. And for the first time in years, it felt like relief. But the loud fallout was only beginning. The silence didn't hit all at once. At first, it came in small gaps. No midnight texts, no quick favors, no emergencies that somehow always landed on my lap. My phone stayed still on the counter. Days passed, then weeks, and nothing collapsed around me. I slept better, ate better. I stopped flinching every time my phone buzzed, expecting a crisis that wasn't mine. I realized how much space I'd been carrying for other people's chaos, and how light life felt without it. I didn't announce my boundaries. I didn't post quotes. I just disappeared. I poured myself into work, expanded my logistics firm, took out a loan, not for someone else, but for me, bought a warehouse, signed my name on the lease, hired staff, my name on the door, my rules. I joined a gym, started hiking again, traveled without checking my phone every 5 minutes. And somewhere between all of that, I started dating again. That's how I met Ethan. He didn't need fixing, didn't ask for favors. He listened, actually listened when I talked. The first time I apologized for saying no to a last-minute plan, he frowned and said, "Why are you apologizing?" That question stuck with me. Meanwhile, Candace's world started unraveling. Nick's side hustles dried up. Their credit tanked. The lease wasn't renewed. They moved in with his mother. The baby cried. Neighbors complained. Candace posted vague Instagram stories about betrayal and cutting toxic people out. Whatever helped her sleep. Cousins reached out. Aunts. Even my mom's church friends. She's struggling. She made a mistake. They're drowning. I didn't respond. I hadn't abandoned her. I'd just stopped saving her. Then one day, my dad called. He'd been quiet through all of it, like always, letting Mom and Candace run the narrative. We met at a diner halfway between his place and my office. He looked smaller, older. I saw it, he said finally. The shower, the envelope, the fallout. I waited. Your mother always said not to rock the boat, he continued. But the boat's sinking now. He met my eyes. You did the right thing. Something in my chest loosened. It didn't erase the years of invisibility, but it mattered. I'm proud of you, he added. I paid the bill. Not out of obligation, out of choice. A week later, a letter arrived. Handwritten, messy, Candace's. Pages of excuses, regret, deflection. But one line stood out. You were never just the one who wrote checks. You were the only one who ever showed up. I didn't reply. I kept the letter. Not as a promise, but as proof. Because maybe people change. Maybe they don't. Either way, I wasn't waiting anymore. I used to think family was a blood contract. It's not. Family is revealed by how they treat you when you say no. And when I finally did, They showed me exactly who they were. They never wanted a sister. They wanted a sponsor. And the moment I stopped paying, I finally started living.